This video will take you through how to do a quadratic regression in Desmos. So to begin with, we need to tell Desmos what points we want it to work with. So if you follow my mouse over here in the upper left, it says add item, and we'll click on that, and we are going to add table. Now, for those of you that have done linear regressions in Desmos, you know that these are the same steps. Now, in order to do a quadratic regression in Desmos, you need to have at least 3 points. Okay, 3 points on your parabola. So I am going to use, for the purpose of this demonstration, -1, 0, 0, -3, and 1, -4. Okay, so, and I can zoom out a little bit so that you can see those points. Okay, so those are my points, and I would like to find the equation of the parabola that goes through those points. So probably it does something like this. Okay, this is probably what we're looking for. Now, as with linear regressions, you need to tell Desmos what to do. So we are going to start doing an equation in standard form. The standard form for a quadratic is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So we are going to start with y1. Now, the reason we have to use y1 is because we have to tell Desmos to look at this list. So y1. If I use an equal sign, you'll notice I get the little error message there. Desmos doesn't know what it wants me to do. We don't use an equal sign. We're going to use a tilde. Oh, it still gave me the exclamation point, but it's going to go away. And standard form would be ax squared, but we have to use ax1 squared plus bx, but we have to use bx1 plus c. And as you can see from the right, we have this beautiful parabola that goes through all of those points. Now, if you were to write the equation for this, we're going to look at the a, the b, and the c value. And so a is 1, b is -2, and c is -3. So the answer you would write on your paper if you were asked to do the quadratic regression would be y equals 1x squared minus 2x minus 3. You don't need to write the 1x squared, but it's not wrong to. So most of us would probably just write x squared minus 2x minus 3. Now, suppose you want the quadratic regression not in standard form. Maybe you would like a quadratic regression in vertex form. So vertex form would start with y1 tilde a. And now vertex form is the x minus h all squared plus k. So we do x1. We always have to have that subscript, and that's just telling Desmos what table to work with. If we had more than one table, we need to specify which table. Minus h all squared plus k. And as you notice, that red parabola is right on top of the blue one. And if I scroll down, I can see my values for A, for H, and for K. So if you were to write the equation in vertex form, you would write y equals 1, and then x minus 1 all squared minus 4 being on the outside. So you would just plug in the A, the H, and the K. Now, the last form that you might want to write your quadratic, or you might need to do a quadratic regression, would be factored form. And so we'd start with y1 tilde a, and now this would be x1 minus p. That would be our first factor. And then our second factor is x1 minus q. And once again, we have 2 blue ones. I kind of change the color here. No, I turned it off. I wanted to change the color, but I guess not. And you can see that that goes on top of the red one, and our values are a is 1. Now notice the a value is the same for all 3 of them, and our p value is 3, and our q value is -1. So if you were to write the equation for this, you would say y equals 1, and then the first parenthesis would be x minus 3, And then the second parenthesis would be x minus -1. Now, minus -1 is awkward, so we would usually say +1 instead of minus a negative. Now, I wrote this problem so that the numbers would come out nice. Okay, I wrote the problem so that the numbers would come out nice. But in a actual application problem or a problem where you were measuring the data, the numbers are not going to come out as nice. So let's like move this point here. We'll do like -1, and then instead of 0, we have 0.5. Okay, and maybe instead of -3, we have -2. Okay, so we're like moving those around. Now, take a look at the numbers. Now, what's neat about that is that if you need to do a regression, notice that I updated the table, and then Desmos automatically updated all of my regressions. Now, but these numbers don't necessarily come out nicely. So we have like our A, our B, and our C values, not as nice. A, H, and K, not as nice. Now notice the A value is always the same though. Here's my P and my Q values, not as nice. So I just want you to be aware of that. So you need at least 3 points. If you were to have a 4th point, it is possible that the 4th point might not be on the parabola. So, okay, so now if I look at it, now I am making up points here. Notice now that my quadratic regression, it does not go through all the points. And that's because there's no parabola that can go through all 4 of those points. It turns out all 4 of those points are not actually on the same parabola. But Desmos has come up with the best parabola for those points. And so you can look down at the different regressions. So that is how you do a quadratic regression in Desmos.